Hello YouTube, it is GZTV back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about the 2009 psychological horror film, Triangle. This is a part of our Scratch It. Let me show you the Scratch It real quick of all the films. We've been scratching them off, and I'll show you the image for Triangle. You can kind of see right there. It's not the greatest view, but the Triangle movie scratch off. I actually already watched Fright Night. I already watched Fright Night. I didn't realize that before, but I was kind of looking through my review. Sorry about the focus. I was looking through my reviews and I was like, oh shit, I already watched this, so I can scratch that off the list. Today we're watching Martyrs. So yeah, let's get into the plot, critical reception, and all that stuff. And by the way, the plot is a complete spoiler of the movie, so if you haven't seen the movie, make sure you go check it out. So yeah, getting into the plot, so Jess prepares to take Tommy, her autistic son, on a boat trip with her friend Greg, and here's the doorbell ring, but no one is there, and already, straight out the gate, this is starting to set up to be a really fucked up story. Jess drives to a Florida harbor without Tommy, and explaining that he is at his special needs school, and boards Greg's boat with his deckhand Victor, his married friends Sally and Downen, and Sally's friend Heather. So they set off on a sail trip, and while they're at sea, a storm approaches, and while Greg radios the Coast Guard, he picks up a distress signal from a woman frantically pleading help. And there's a lot of confusing things at the beginning of the movie, but everything kind of ties in as you get through the film, and that's kind of the beauty of it. It's a full circle moment. It's pretty mind-boggling, I would say, on first watch. I would feel that way, but once I looked at videos and all this stuff of people explaining it, it made more sense. Maybe you don't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that with a movie, but I did it anyway. The woman says that someone is killing everyone, but is cut off before she can provide her location. The storm capsizes the boat, and Heather is swept away by the ocean, never to be seen again. The others climb onto the overturned boat when the storm clears, and it's morning, and they're kind of out stranded in the ocean, looking at each other like, what the hell are we supposed to do? The survivors board an ocean liner as it passes, which is kind of fucking suspect. No one is shouting at them, hey, get on, something like that. It's just an ocean liner coming towards them. So already, they should get a bad feeling about it. And they make the same mistake over and over, obviously not being conscious about it because it's a time loop. It appears to be deserted despite the fact that they saw the silhouette of a person on the bridge, deliberately ignoring their cries for help, and there's fresh food in the dining room. So right away as they get on this boat, you see the red flags. You're like, oh shit, this is not going to be good news. Something bad is going to happen to these characters. There's going to be a murderer that owns this ship, and maybe they have to escape to sea. And yeah, as I was watching the movie, I was kind of trying to guess what was happening, which is kind of fucking stupid, but I've watched quite a bit of horror movies up to this point on this channel, so yeah. There's fresh food. So Jess experiences a sense of deja vu as they explore the ship, and she has every reason to, because the twist in the film kind of relates to that. So they find Jess's keys near a display case for Aeolus, the ship's namesake, and you kind of see the name of the ship as it arrives. So this ship obviously has a lot of history. You're starting to think, oh shit, is this a ghost ship? Are the spirits going to start attacking them and stuff? But Jess spots someone watching them, and Victor gives chase. Now we're not sure if this is an actual person or just a spirit. We'll soon to find out. They will find out. So she and Greg find Go to Theater written in blood on the mirror, but Greg insists it's just the crew playing a prank, which is fucking ignorant. Obviously, it's a horror movie trope of the main characters being completely ignorant to the entire situation. So they're he's like, oh yeah, they're just playing a prank. So Jess returns to the dining room where the food is now rotting, so time is just moved really quickly apparently on this ship, which is kind of strange. Victor, covered in blood, tries to kill Jess, but she fights him off, and you were not really, again, a lot of questions at first. We're not really sure at first why this man is attacking Jess, but then we figure out, through the flashbacks, through all these time warps, through all the, once she kills the main threat on the ship, that happens, or it's interesting, sorry. I'm stuttering. It's interesting because she kills the antagonist early on in the film, and you're like, oh, well, shit, it's over. What's the aftermath? And then we realize, oh, my God, she's just going to keep doing that over and over again. So it's really cool. You get kind of disappointed at first while you're watching the film, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just keeps happening. You're like, oh, that's what this movie is. So Jess hears gunfire and follows her to a theater where Greg lies dead of a gunshot. Sally and Downey say that Greg told them Jess shot him, and technically, yes, she did, but not the Jess. That's like the original Jess. There's more Jesses, which is why the thumbnail has me like pointing at myself. A masked shooter kills them and chases Jess. She disarms the shooter, who tells her, "You have to kill them. It's the only way to get home before falling overboard. Like, you have to stop the time loop. You have to kill all of your friends to end this time loop." And it kind of sets up a really interesting concept for the movie that I'm honestly a pretty big fan of. Now, did they execute the movie great? I'm not really sure, but I really like the concept of this film. She hears yelling and sees a second set of Jess and the others arrive on Greg's capsized boat and spot her as the earlier unseen figure. The second set of people board the boat. So Jess is spotted when she drops her keys near the display case, as the keys were dropped in the beginning, and she attempts to warn Victor too when he chases her, only to accidentally impale his head on a wall hook, which is how he got injured in the first time loop. She finds dozens of the shooter's outfits, several shotguns, her own locket, and a note saying to kill them all when they board, written in her own handwriting. She needs to kill them the second they get on the boat, to prevent them from being on the same boat, or being on the boat. She takes a shotgun intending to change the pattern, but the shooter, a third Jess, repeating the loop, kills Greg and Downey too, before mortally wounding Sally too, as well. So that's the second group of people. The first Jess chases Sally too, who sends the distress signal heard on Greg's boat, which kind of, again, like I said, this movie does a good job at explaining everything, not really leaving anything unturned, just explaining the concept of the time loop. Jess catches up to her on a deck filled with dozens of Sally's corpses, and Sally succumbs to her wound as below them, the second Jess kills the shooter Jess. So she's just killing herself, she's killing her friends, and it just keeps on repeating over and over, and she needs to find the key to prevent this time loop from going on any further. The overturned boat returns again with another copy of Jess and the others, and Jess realizes the loop restarts once everyone is killed. Like, when everyone is killed, you have to get these people off the damn boat. You have to save them from yourself, pretty much. Desperate to stop the loop, Jess sets everything from the first loop into motion and cloaks her face using a burlap bag as a makeshift mask, which is what she did in the original loop. After she is disarmed during the fight on the front deck, she urges her counterpart to kill everyone, and the second Jess knocks the original overboard, and this movie is just so interesting because she's making the same mistakes over and over. She sees the same shooter in a burlap mask, and she figures she'd do the same thing, and this whole time she's oblivious to the fact that this is a fucking time loop. She's trying the same thing, she's making the same mistakes, and I feel like that's the big concept of the movie. So she awakens washed ashore and discovers that it is the same morning. So after she is disarmed during the fight on the front deck, she urges her counterpart, blah, blah, blah. So she returns home and watches from outside her house as her original morning self yells abusively at Tommy out of anger towards his autism, growing impatient with the child, and she realizes this isn't her, this isn't the real her. Promising to change, she distracts her counterpart with the doorbell, then kills her, puts the bagged body in the car trunk, and leaves with Tommy with the original Jess in the trunk. A seagull hits her windshield and dies, but when she picks it up and disposes of it, she sees a pile of dead seagulls. Realizing that she is still trapped in the loop, still doing the same thing, still making the same mistakes, Jess hurriedly drives away, but crashes into a truck. So no matter what she's been doing so far, she can't escape the loop. Tommy is killed on impact, and the double of Jess from the trunk is seen dead at the scene. So in the aftermath, the real Jess stands watching the accident scene, kind of fucking evilly as well. A bystander viewing Tommy utters the crucial words, "Nothing can bring him back." A taxi driver approaches, and Jess accepts a ride to the harbor. After promising to return, she joins the others on Greg's boat, starting the loop again, evidently hoping that by doing so, she will bring back her son. She made the mistake of getting her son killed, so now she's like, oh shit, I gotta go through the fucking loop again, Yeah, it's a fucking crazy concept of a movie, and it's kind of funny because you watch the taxi driver, and he's like, do you not get it? Does she just not get it? I don't know. But yeah, let's get into the reviews and wrap this video up. So getting kind of into my review and other people's reviews, talking about Rotten Tomatoes, they gave it an 80%, 40 reviews, 6.53 out of 10. So Triangle sails into some strange waters, but this intelligent, well-acted horror outing anchors its idiosyncrasies in a satisfyingly scary story. It got a 4 out of 5 on Empire. It's a satisfying mind twister with an unexpectedly poignant payoff. The Triangle only makes some kind of sense on its own fantastic level. Like, if you watch it, you really have to understand what's happening, or else the movie doesn't hit for you. And at first, I will admit, I didn't really get the movie, but then I was like, oh shit, yeah. She keeps just making the same mistakes, you know? So, George's fearless, credible performance grounds the madness in a moving, emotional reality. I really like her performance. I think that is the main character, yes. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like a Mobius strip in which the viewer wonders how Smith will keep things going, and the viewer will leave this picture suitably shaken. I mean, this isn't an ordinary horror film, for sure. It's definitely got some crazy shit to it. Triangle is a smart, interestingly constructed, scary movie. Smith created some real shivers, when you realize that the thing just happens over and over again. Some negatives, I guess. George's acting was great. I mean, her performance can't shield the fact that this is still an exceptionally non-scary horror that will have you scratching your head more than jumping out of your seat. It's like the only negatives is that it's not that scary, and it doesn't really make sense on first watch. Like, you really have to analyze this movie to get it. And like, if you're looking for a casual movie experience, I don't think this is for you, really. 2 out of 5 on entertainment.ie. It's a trickily plotted and slickly made effort that nevertheless can't quite make its premise fly in gripping enough fashion. Like, if I would have understood it more on first watch, I would say that this is a damn near perfect movie. I like the movie, I like the concept of it. It's just the fact that it took me so long to understand what the hell was going on in this movie. That was, at the time it ended, the credits rolled, I was like, okay, it's a loop, yeah, but like, why does it keep happening? She tries things that like people tell her to do. I don't know. It is a very confusing film, but on that note, leave a like, comment, subscribe. As always, it has been Cheesy TV, giving you guys the best movies out there. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. You guys have been showing amazing support on my channel for like the Travis Scott stuff and some of my movie stuff. Every week we are going to be doing an edited movie review for a movie I see that seems fit. So this is definitely a confusing movie and one that's up for discussion in the comments if you would like. Peace out.